The moment these 3 bottles entered the Ultimate Survival Championship, I thought I already knew the winner. The steel water bottle looked unstoppable, the glass bottle looked fragile, and the plastic bottle looked like the obvious weak link. But instead of guessing, I put all 3 through a series of extreme survival tests to find out which bottle could actually handle the pressure. No opinions, no assumptions, just 3 bottles, the same challenges, and 1 champion. Welcome to the Ultimate Survival Championship. In this experiment, the steel bottle, glass bottle, and plastic bottle will face multiple rounds designed to push their limits. They will be tested against impacts, drops, temperature extremes, pressure, and everyday accidents that bottles experience in real life. The goal is simple: survive the longest. The first bottle eliminated will leave the championship forever. Before the first test begins, let's meet our competitors. In the left corner, we have the plastic bottle. It's lightweight, flexible, and probably the bottle most people use every day. It is easy to carry, easy to replace, and surprisingly durable because it can bend instead of break. But flexibility can also become a weakness. In the middle, we have the glass bottle. Glass has a reputation for being clean, reusable, and premium. It doesn't absorb smells, it looks great, and many people prefer it for drinking water. But one question remains: can something known for being fragile survive an extreme competition? And finally, the steel water bottle. The heavyweight champion on paper. Strong, reusable, and designed to survive drops, bumps, and everyday abuse. But sometimes, the biggest competitor isn't always the winner. The championship begins now. Round 1 is the drop test. Each bottle will face the same fall from the same height. This is one of the most common accidents a bottle can experience. A bottle slips off a table, falls from a backpack, or hits the ground during a normal day. First up is the plastic bottle. The drop happens. The plastic bottle hits the ground and immediately bounces. No cracks. No broken pieces. The shape changes slightly, but it is still holding water. The flexibility helped absorb the impact. Next is the glass bottle. The drop begins. The glass bottle falls. The impact is dramatic. A loud crack echoes through the room. The bottle is inspected. A small crack has appeared. It is still standing, but one major weakness has been revealed. Glass can be strong, but when the force reaches a breaking point, it doesn't bend. It breaks. Now the steel bottle takes its turn. The drop happens. The sound is completely different. Instead of cracking or bouncing, the steel bottle hits the ground with a heavy impact. The result? A small dent. But the bottle is still completely functional. After round 1, the steel bottle takes the lead. But the competition is far from over. Round 2 is the crushing pressure test. This test will reveal which bottle can handle extreme force. The plastic bottle goes first. Pressure begins increasing. At first, nothing happens. Then the sides start collapsing inward. The bottle loses its original shape. It hasn't failed completely, but it is struggling. The glass bottle enters next. Pressure increases. The cracks from the previous round begin spreading. The bottle reaches its limit. A sudden failure. The glass bottle cannot continue. The first competitor has been eliminated. The glass bottle had many advantages, but in a survival championship, one weak moment can end everything. Now it comes down to steel versus plastic. The steel bottle faces the pressure test. The machine pushes harder. The bottle bends slightly. The pressure continues. But instead of collapsing, the steel bottle holds its shape. Another round goes to steel. The plastic bottle is still alive, but the champion is starting to separate from the competition. Now we move into the temperature challenge. This round tests how each material reacts when conditions become extreme. The first challenge is extreme cold. The plastic bottle enters freezing conditions. As the temperature drops, the plastic becomes more rigid. The bottle survives, but it becomes less flexible. The glass bottle would normally face this challenge next, but after the previous damage, it cannot continue. The steel bottle enters the cold environment. Minutes pass. The temperature drops lower. When removed, the steel bottle remains strong. No cracks. No structural damage. Now comes the opposite challenge. Extreme heat. The plastic bottle enters the heat test. As temperatures rise, the material begins changing. The bottle becomes softer. The shape starts deforming. It is still recognizable, but the damage is obvious. The steel bottle enters the heat test. The outside becomes extremely hot, but the structure remains intact. Another point for steel. At this stage, the scoreboard is clear. Steel is dominating. But the plastic bottle refuses to quit. And now comes the most important test. The real-life survival test. The backpack challenge. Every day, bottles get thrown into bags, dropped on floors, squeezed between objects, and carried everywhere. This round combines multiple challenges into one. The plastic bottle goes first. It gets tossed, squeezed, and knocked around. Because it can bend, it survives several impacts. This is where plastic shows its biggest advantage. It is not the strongest, but it is surprisingly difficult to completely destroy. The steel bottle enters the challenge. The impacts begin. It hits the ground. It gets pushed. It gets thrown. The bottle collects a few scratches and dents. But inside, the water remains protected. The steel bottle continues. Now the final round begins. The ultimate survival challenge. The winner must survive one final combination of everything. Impact, pressure, temperature changes, and durability. The plastic bottle enters the final arena. The first impact happens. It survives. The second challenge begins. The bottle starts losing its shape. The final pressure test begins. The plastic walls collapse. After an incredible run, the plastic bottle has reached its limit. It fought longer than many people expected. But it cannot survive the final challenge. Only one bottle remains. The steel bottle enters the final round. Impact after impact. Pressure after pressure. Extreme conditions. The bottle takes everything thrown at it. There are dents. There are scratches. But the structure remains intact. The steel bottle has survived every challenge. The champion has been decided. The winner of the Ultimate Survival Championship is the steel water bottle. But the results were more interesting than expected. The glass bottle was the first to fall because strength and durability are not always the same thing. Glass can be excellent for everyday use, but extreme impacts reveal its weakness. The plastic bottle surprised everyone. It survived multiple challenges because flexibility can be a powerful survival advantage. But when every challenge was combined, the steel bottle had the perfect balance of strength, durability, and protection. It didn't survive because it was perfect. It survived because it kept going after everything else failed. But this championship raises another question. If steel defeated glass and plastic, what happens when we test the strongest household materials against each other? A wooden object, a metal object, a ceramic object, and a mystery material that might completely change the winner. The next Ultimate Survival Championship could have a completely different champion.